Chicago, bringing you guys coverage of the Modern format. We have Tom Martell playing against Matt Sperling. It looks like Matt Sperling has chosen to keep his opening hand, but Tom Martell has thrown his back.
We were talking before the break here that these guys, sort of work and play together. They on the same, sort of Channel Fireball video crew, doing draft videos and doing, Channel Fireball TV and that kind of stuff. Hang out a lot, spend a lot of time together. So there's a really good chance that we're looking at, a 75 card mirror. Tom Martell, you see, signing away his soul.
Yeah, right here, the devil.
Both of these guys are lawyers, so...
They are both lawyers.
Yeah, they are both.
Oh, man. So you can root against both of them.
Yeah.
All right.
It looks like Tom Martell's playing Infect is what I'm seeing.
I think it actually may be Affinity. I see a
there you go.
Springleaf Drum.
Yeah, there you go. So pays 2 life for Vault Scourge in the end. Springleaf Drum into Ornithopter into Vault Scourge.
Pretty nice opening hand when you have 6 cards.
And it looks like a mirror here.
And Matt Sperling, also looking at a pretty nice hand, has the Springleaf Drum into
I see an old school Ornithopter. See an Opal. Oh, and a Steel Overseer.
Ooh. Well, Matt Sperling just one up Tom. One of these is not like the other, and so that Steel Overseer can begin to take over this game pretty quickly if it's not answered.
So now both these guys are probably, we're going to assume, are playing the version of this deck that we've seen a lot of lately, which is eschewed red for Thoughtcast. And instead playing a little bit of blue. They got Master of Ethereum and Thoughtcast, where the other decks have had, let me see, Glimmer Void, Memnite, and another Vault Scourge. There you go.
And with no spot removal, Tom's gonna have some trouble here.
I'm always a little surprised that the Galvanic Blast, Shrapnel Blast version of this deck has fallen out of favor.
Powerful cards. They can end the game so fast. And it's so easy to punch through early damage.
And they also feel like decks that can change role a little bit and be a little more controlling. See. Oh, 2 Arcbound. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
The modular on those is pretty huge when you have a Steel Overseer in play.
Wow. And there you see Matt Sperling saying, I'm just going to sit back here.
And that Ornithopter is just, it's a speed bump that Tom cannot get past right now.
Certainly not game 1, right? We're going to assume.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear right now that Matt's just taking this game over with Steel Overseer. I mean, we don't know the full content of the deck, so Tom could have an ace in the hole right now.
I mean, he's pretty close to being able to just, like, force Tom to just block us an Inkmoth Nexus every turn. Because, with the modular and, the extra counters he can put on from the Steel Overseer, he could create a lethal Inkmoth Nexus in 1 turn pretty close to now. Is that a cranial plating?
Yeah, and with no spot removal, that's it. That's game. So Matt has a few different options here. He could just take the 6, 7, take 7, let Tom go up to 24. He can also just trade with his Ornithopter. It's pretty reasonable. Another option he has is to block with the Ornithopter, and then before damage, he can sacrifice it to the Ravager. That way, Tom doesn't gain the life link. But it seems like Matt could, if he wanted to, win with Infect this game.
Well, if he draws a... Yep.
All right, just going to trade. Tom going to jump up to 24 here. Modular. Not a card that was designed to be used with Steel Overseer, but very powerful interaction.
So that's Blinkmoth Nexus there, right?
Yep, and Blinkmoth Nexus can be used to pump Inkmoth Nexus.
Interesting. Those guys have like the shared dice box ready in between them. Activates his both his Inkmoths. Turns on his Steel Overseer. So those Inkmoths are now starting out as 2/2s. Tom has to block both of them. So what does Tom have left? Does he have like a Memnite and a Springleaf Drum up there?
I think Tom in play after this will have a Memnite and a Springleaf Drum with that cranial plating.
Yep. Just like Matt Sperling's deck just pyramiding out.
Yeah. It's a nice little design he has going there. The 4-3-2.
Yeah. Steel Overseer and the threat of those Arcbound Ravagers. You know, there wasn't just an opportunity for Tom to just go, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, if at any point, if Tom didn't chump both of those Inkmoths, he was just going to die there.
Yeah, only one of them has to get through. There was more than enough artifacts on the board that he was able to just make a 10-10 Inkmoth Nexus.
You could just sacrifice all the artifacts with Ravager.
Onto your Ravager, and then sacrifice your Ravager, and then move all the counters onto your Inkmoth. There you get a look at Tom Martell. Sideboarding, you see some Ancient Grudges getting slammed in to the 60. Okay, well, we're going to just, I think, switch camera views for a second.
Yeah.
We got Ben Lundquist playing against
Joseph Bernal.
Oh, wow.
Looks like.
So get a look at what kind of decks people are playing here in this format.
So I'm assuming Ben Lundquist on the left here. And Joseph Bernal, well known for the MC Hammer tokens. Love some Lingering Souls.
His deck is...
It looks like Joe's got an interesting one. Ben playing Blue-White Angels. Expect nothing less of him.
Yeah, with Thought Scour.
Ooh.
Comes a little post-combat Liliana. Sacrifice it. No Wilt Leaf Liege to be had. Don't know what the life total is here, but...
Yeah, Ben, I mean, assuming that the life totals are at any way similar to each other, Joe's got to have a huge advantage this game. He has a Planeswalker on the table. Ben has a bunch of counterspells stranded in his hand and can't interact with that Planeswalker at all. So.
Yeah, he needs one of his haste creatures, or one of his flash creatures to come down.
And he's going to need to draw it soon.
Yeah.
Because he's got to end step that.
He's like, okay, I got 2 pair. We see Inquisition of Kozilek from Joe. See Spell Snare, Mana Leak. Now, Tarmogoyf is going to essentially get another one. Then Liliana is going to plus it. Discard. You're down to 1 card. 1 Spell Snare. It looks like he just drew a Restoration Angel.
That's pretty good here.
So... I don't know what the life totals are. Oh, it's just...
Alright.
Plays the Restoration Angel.
That's a little odd. So he kills the Liliana this way.
Yeah, kills it either way.
Same.
Alright.
Both no card. Well, Celestial Colonnade for Ben. just a spell snare in hand. Both players playing off the top here.
Terminate, I'll spell snare it.
Spell snare it. Joe knew about that spell snare. But, I mean,
what's he going to do?
What's he going to do?
I mean, he'd rather get it out of the hand when he draws another Tarmogoyf or any other threat. What is his deck? It's
a Joseph Bernal deck. It looks like it's every color but blue. Probably a good amount of Planeswalkers, some Liliana.
Turn 1. Turn 1 Overseer, turn 2 Ravager. That's a pretty good draw.
I think we're gonna head back over to the Martell Sperling match as soon as they're done with their mulligan decisions for Game 2.
Joe, depending on what he has in his hand, may decide to attack here with Treetop Village. He needs to have some sort of spot removal spell in hand so that he can deal with that Celestial Colony on Ben's side of the table. Ben also has Tectonic Edge, though, so... Ooh, a Dark Confidant. Assume this is getting spell snared.
That's a spell snare that Ben has drawn since the last time we looked at his hand. Then Tech edges away the Treetop Village.
And another spell snare here off the top for Ben.
Ben really loves a spell snare.
Oh, who doesn't? It's just the best. And you get to send that ferret away in the into the Aether.
One more 0 or a land.
All right, and we're back at the Sperling Martell match.
It looks like Tom is again mulliganing. Matt has an Ancient Grudge in hand.
Yeah, and when last we left, we saw Martell slamming 3 Ancient Grudges into his deck too.
And I'm assuming both of these players are playing the same 75. They know each other well, played with each other before. Ancient Grudge is just so huge in this matchup, especially with Tom mulliganing. It's going to be really tough on the play with a mulligan when your opponent is packing the Ancient Grudge. And a multiple Glimmer Void hand here for Tom. Tom could risk just getting completely blown out here by a Ancient Grudge. And there's the Springleaf Drum for Matt. Gonna allow him to accelerate coming turns. And we just got deckless. We have main deck. Neither of these players have any spell removal. Post board, it looks like they're going to be able to bring in Dismember and Ancient Grudge. It seems like the sideboard plan that I would be most comfortable with here. And the 4 life from Dismember, that may seem like a big deal in this robot match, but the matches are being won by poison counters a lot of the time. Just being able to kill a creature for 1 mana, still a very good deal. Remember at a Grand Prix last year, Japanese players were keeping Dismember in against mono red decks.
Ha!
It's just Hero of Oxyridge was too strong.
So that Glimmer Void is about to be brutal.
Yes.
So Glimmer Void is only stays in play as long as you control an artifact?
Correct.
So...
Yeah, so here Matt can use that Ancient Grudge and kill Tom's Steel Overseer and his Glimmer Void.
That seems pretty sick.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. Give 1. Yep. Give 1 with Memnite. Wow. And oh, by the way, your next artifact, I can flash this thing back.
And that's the thing, is now Tom is going to need to play around that other Ancient Grudge in the yard, so he's just forced to pass the turn. So he does have another Glimmer Void in hand. Ooh, a Welding Jar. Pretty nice one.
Sounds like Arcbound Ravager to follow up, or Cranial Plating.
Cranial Plating is bit faster, but cranial plating. You know, if you draw a land off the top, it would be better to play the Ravager. But Matt Sperling not going to be presumptuous about his next draw step. Makes the correct play, puts cranial plating onto the table. Tom, as
just roasting slowly on the spit of his mulligan.
Yeah, but that Springleaf Drum.
He's like, please kill my Springleaf Drum.
And Tom still at 18. I mean, Matt is not really applying that much pressure. The cranial plating changes all that math really fast, though.
As is the welding jar, you know, like he's like, oh, you got to use both sides of your Ancient Grudge if you want to kill my thing.
And that's not going to be easy to do for Tom, who's stuck on one land and a Springleaf Drum, when Matt has an Ancient Grudge of his own in the graveyard right now. All right, so tax
the math, that was a lot.
It's +6 from the cranial plating, I believe. It may be +7 because did he activate the Nexus to get an extra damage?
I think he might have, yeah.
It's an Arcbound Ravager here for Tom. Something that Matt can easily deal with via Ancient Grudge.
We know that Matt's also been holding a
Dismember in hand. Yeah. What's the other card you were saying?
Oh, he also has his own Ravager.
Was that a Master of Ethereum off the top for Matt?
Plays the Ravager, flashes back the Grudge. Looks like.
Does not seem good for Tom.
Tom's going to go to 2 here. I think he's taking 9.
Yeah, he's going to take 9. He can actually take 10. Matt can activate the drum with the Ornithopter.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, Matt
he'd rather keep his Dismember mana open, yeah.
Time going to 1. Pretty good for Matt.
I think it's time for the key print on 6.
Yeah, and that's our first round. We have Matt Sperling defeating Tom Martell 2-0 in the Affinity Mirror. Tom mulliganing both games. In game 2, we saw just how strong Ancient Grudge is here in the mirror. Especially when one player mulligans. Ancient Grudge, you know, putting somebody down to 4 cards essentially. Just completely brutal when you're on the draw.
And we also saw 2 examples of how the Affinity, the robots that can win. We saw Steel Overseer really just going to work in game 1, and then we saw Cranial Plating, which is just one of the cards that just makes this deck brutal in game 2. But we're back over looking at the Ben Lundquist Joe Bernal match. Apparently Joe Bernal is actually playing, according to Valerie Shokoff on Twitter, he's saying that Bernal's playing Lucas Blohan's deck from Grand Prix Lyon.
Oh, he's just playing Jund with Lingering Souls. Pretty nice.
Right. So yeah, the mana we weren't able to determine it from the mana base, but obviously some concessions need to be made to add some cards. But yeah, this looks like in Jund deck it's got the Jund suite of creatures, but instead of like places where we've seen Kitchen Finks, this deck seems to is running Lingering Souls.
It would have been if you hadn't.
Lingering Souls is just great right now. I imagine Joe's probably been playing a good amount of Magic Online. He knows that Infect is something that he really needs to worry about.
And Lingering Souls, you feel like gives you that much action against them?
Oh, it's just huge. And if they have a Blighted Agent or an Ichor Claw Mirror,
You guys can play when you're ready.
may not be the best thing, but it's also just so good against all the other decks too. That
There are some cards to me that are quintessentially Ben Lundquist, and one of them is Crucible of Worlds. I see that in his hand.
Ben Lundquist has always impressed me. Just
Oh.
one of the better players I've ever seen. Somebody who, hasn't really made that much of a presence for himself over the years. Doesn't really go to as many Magic tournaments as you might expect of somebody who's as talented as he is. But the ones that he has gone to, he's really made them count. He won a Grand Prix a few years back playing Blue-Green Tron, an extended.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the list of players, like best players who don't have a Pro Tour top 8. I think it's pretty safe to say that Ben Lundquist is one of those players. You certainly would not be surprised to see his name at a Pro Tour playing on Sunday, but it's something that's eluded him so far. He's 4 Grand Prix top 8s in his career.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Mana League takes down Dark Confidant, and then Geist of St. Traft sticks on turn 3. Is there a Liliana in its future?
It looks like there is a Liliana, but will Joe choose to do that right now? I mean, I assume he will. There's really no other option for him right now. All right, so Joe, just taking one, going to grab himself a Swamp here. Or will he choose to... instead choosing to grab a Temple Guard to play tapped.
Yep. And so we know that...
how did he cast that?
He removed a land with his Deathrite Shaman.
Oh, he removed the other fetch land. Okay. Yeah, the fetch land, they just cracked that turn.
Yep. I believe so.
Ben, definitely not happy to see Liliana in this spot. Does have a Snapcaster Mage in hand. All right. Oust.
Little Oost action.
Correct. Oust is 3 life, correct?
Big fan of the Oust.
Yeah, man, that card's great. See Crucible of Worlds start being able to take apart Bernal's mana base, which certainly seemed a little more intricate than the classic Jund mana base.
Oh yeah, and I mean, especially with right now taking out that Blood Crypt can just completely neuter Joe's strategy.
Yeah.
Ben happens to draw another Tectonic Edge. It would be even more brutal here.
Oh, because he could do 2 at once.
Yeah. To Tarmogoyf. So, Joe now with a few different options. Ben could here choose to use his Tectonic Edge and then replay the Tectonic Edge via Crucible of Worlds. But he can also use Snapcaster Mage on the same turn and Oust. So that might be the right play.
Right. He's going to have fetch land every turn at this point if he wants it.
Yeah, so Ben's not going to miss land drops from here on out, essentially. It's a pretty nice thing to guarantee yourself when you're a blue-white controller.
But at the same time, he had to spend his turn 3.
Yeah.
Invest this card. His opponent, was able to, or I guess that was his turn 4 technically, right? But then his opponent's able, you just got a clear path to play Tarmogoyf. Was able to work his Liliana unopposed. The card doesn't have an immediate impact.
Yeah, the one thing about Crucible of Worlds is the longer the game goes, the harder it's going to get to win against that. He's getting free card advantage. He's getting an extra card every single turn. As Liliana starts to go upstairs, Ben can use the Crucible to return the lands to play that he had discarded to Liliana.
So he's looking at, does he want the Thought Scour, or does he want the Oust?
He may just oust here.
Yeah.
I like that play.
And starts working on the lands.
By ousting that Deathrite Shaman, Ben bought himself time so that he could get the Snapcaster Mage into play. Active. Joe chooses not to plus Liliana again.
I can't see the bottom. He doesn't have a 4th land in play, right?
He does not. So. Right. The Deathrite Shaman going to be able to tap for some mana for a long time, especially now that there's a Verdant Catacombs in play and a Treetop Village in the
Or
graveyard.
it could attack for 1.
He's going to tap his mana anyway.
Yep.
All right, Tarmogoyf returns. End of turn Angel. Now the Angel's actually going to get to attack.
He gets to kill that Liliana. Tarmogoyf getting very big. Planeswalker, creature, instant land, sorcery.
Yeah, the last
Oh no, the oust is gone.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That's good.
So, 4/5.
And then I got some caffeine and food in me in my eyes, and I was like, wait a minute.
Joe gonna drop himself down to 21 here.
Against the Pyroclasm deck. It's so much worse.
Let's see what he grabs.
One of the guys playing with this.
Grabs an Overgrown Tomb. So Joe, with perfect mana set up for himself, is gonna have a lot of trouble getting into this game if he is a clog of 4 drops though, because
every turn this game goes on, you know, Ben's do nothing. Crucible of Worlds does a little something extra. You know, it does a little something, a little something. We've already seen it return a Tectonic Edge and a Misty Rainforest. But
it's already functioned as a Dark Confidant for him. Right.
But he is. There's a second Angel.
You know, Ben, 4 turn clock in the air.
Yeah, but he's he's got a 2 turn clock on the ground.
Very true. I mean, you could pass with the intention of double blocking, but that's really hard to do against a deck like Jund because they have so much instant speed spout removal that he could just get blown out if he wanted to do that. He drop himself down to 13 here, going and grabbing another land. Gets to replay that Misty Rainforest out of his graveyard afterward, thanks to Crucible of Worlds. Tarmogoyf, very powerful card. Outclasses 4 mana creatures all by itself.
Yeah.
At 2 mana. Joe falling down to 15 now. Let's see. Kitchen Finks, pretty nice. That's the type of roadblock that Ben was looking for. Ben's going to jump into 15 here now, and that's going to let him block those Tarmogoyfs for a pretty long time. He can at least block 1.
Yeah. But the Grim Deathrite Shaman is going to work.
Just to ping Ben for an extra 2 per turn. Joe terminating the Kitchen then using Deathrite Shaman to remove it from the game, gaining himself 2 life, and killing the Kitchen Pretty
Yeah.
nice play there from Joe.
Yeah.
Very tight. Taking full advantage of that Deathrite Shaman. Ben now at 5. Depending on what's in his hand, he may need to leave back both angels.
I almost feel like regardless of what's in his hand, he has to leave back both angels.
It's really tough for Ben. Now, if he gets hit by either Tarmogoyf, he dies because of Deathrite Shaman. And the Deathrite Shaman itself is pretty fast clock.
Right, it's three.
So
It's 2 turns away from killing him.
So the Blue-White Angels deck. Do you think he has Threads of Disloyalty in his sideboard? Could he tap deck one of those? Ooh,
There's
Lingering Souls.
Yeah.
That puts Joe in a really good spot here because with Lingering Souls, it's going to be really hard for Ben to start attacking with those
Well,
angels
it's
ever.
also
The
a
race is
sorcery.
on.
Which was
Oh,
one of them
wow.
missing. So now he has to chump block both of them.
Yeah, Ben is going to need to draw a
Card that's not in his
Supreme
deck.
Verdict. If anybody can draw a Supreme Verdict here, it's got to be Ben. Do you think he even sides that in here?
I mean, for the sake of argument, I certainly hope so.
Yeah. It would make this game a lot more interesting. Oh.
Yep.
That's it?
This game, Joe Bernal wins 2-0.
Joseph
Lingering
Bernal.
Jund.
Yes. Jund with Lingering Souls. This is something that I expect we're going to start seeing more of.
Well, again, I guess people were saying that this was a deck that Lucas Blahan played in Lyon last week. So I didn't see him in the top 16, but he may have been on camera or certainly talked to other players.
Lucas Blohan, a lot of the time, has some pretty interesting, Do we have another match?
What? How do we have such an embarrassment of riches in terms of matches?
So we see
Who are
a
we looking at
Goblin
here?
Electromancer up there at the top.
Is that Matt Ferranda?
Is it? Oh, no, it's Caleb Durwood.
Okay. Playing against, is that Daniel Duarte.
Right, so Caleb playing the black-green deck, as Caleb's are often known for doing.
Wild Caleb's.
Wild Caleb's love their black-green decks. He's definitely a spirit monger in another life.
What's going on here? So it's just
That's just what
Can someone tell me what's going on the board? Oh, there we go. I was like, there's a Goblin Electromancer exiled. 2 sleight of hands are attacking.
He's got Electromancers up in the red zone. So's Daniel's deck.
New card ability in Gate Crash. Your deck may attack as if it were a creature.
Rawr. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in it.
Yeah. Card types.
You have to let your opponent look through it.
right, there we see Tide Hollow Sculler. We
Tide Hollow
don't see
Sculler.
what Tide Hollow Sculler is looking at.
I believe that's a pyretic ritual.
Some cards that are off camera. It grabs a lightning bolt. Some other cards go back to Daniel's hand untouched. We don't know what they are, but we can assume they're pretty good, but not as good as a lightning bolt. Yeah, there we go.
All right, so it looks like there's a pair of pyretic rituals there for Daniel.
And a steam vent.
Not exactly where Daniel wants to be here. Ooh, well, he drew a Seething Song. He can make a lot of mana.
What's he going to do with it, though? But if he draws like a Past in Flames here, he's in pretty interesting shape.
Drew an Epic Experiment.
Oh, fingers crossed.
That'd be pretty good.
So we've seen, how many decks have we seen? So we've seen 2 Affinity decks.
Yeah.
We've seen
Angels.
Angels. We've seen
Lingering Souls
Jund. We've seen Storm, and now we've seen like essentially a junk deck.
Yeah, it looks like a junk deck. We may see Lingering Souls out of Caleb, too. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
If you're playing those colors, the card is just so good.
And when your mana is sort of taxed, it's really nice to, it buys you a couple turns to smooth things out, let some lands come into play tapped.
Rule of Law. Pings Caleb for
Oh.
3. Gives him a free card. But that's going to be really hard for Daniel to beat.
And
There's
he
the Rule of Law.
casts it.
Now, if you're Daniel, do you block the Sculler here? Get the bolt back? I feel like maybe you can just block Confidant. You kind of have to. Maybe you just have to take it.
Look at your sideboard.
No, you can't.
Just
Because.
separate from your hand.
Oh, what's he doing?
Nope, not allowed.
He's just looking at his sideboard, seeing what he. It's like,
Are you allowed to do that? No.
yeah. As long as you put your deck and your cards down, and you know never the twain shall meet. It's kind of like
didn't
when
know
your
that.
peas don't touch your mashed potatoes.
Well, why would you want your peas to not touch your mashed potatoes?
I don't know. Some people don't like that. He does block the Scholar, gets the bolt back.
He's going to need to find a way to get this Rule of Law off of the table
Well,
and then go off.
It's highly unlikely that he didn't bring in an Echoing Truth. Assuming he has that. You know, I saw a couple builds that didn't have that.
Echoing Truth is just one of the best answers to hate cards,
Yes.
because it deals with any permanent that might be messing with your combo. Caleb?
Tempted to kill that Dark Confidant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's drawing Caleb multiple cards per turn. I think Daniel's goal here was to hope that the Confidant dealt Caleb a little bit of damage, that he could bolt him out of the game. We may see Daniel just bolt Caleb right here.
Yeah, says take it. Take what you want.
Instead chooses to let Caleb have his pick of the litter. Really he's in a pretty rough spot now. That Rule of Law is on the table. There is no way he can interact with his opponent. He can't combo off.
Hey, he has to draw Echoing Truth.
And if he draws Echoing Truth, then he's actually in a pretty good spot.
He has to draw Echoing Truth. Sort of cross his fingers. Echoing Truth. Like, I mean, he can wait until the last minute.
Huh.
Just used a ritual at the end of the turn.
For
Now he's going to make 2 empty the Warren tokens.
seems fair.
And we see Zealous Persecution. He's like, don't bother fishing him out.
Ooh, an Athersword Canonist with the rule of law. Now you need echoing truths if you're gonna want to take this one down, Daniel. And even as that Pyretic Ritual in the yard, it's just not good at all here.
The Liliana hanging out in the north face of the board.
Caleb just taking this game over so fast. Daniel is absolutely nothing at this point.
No, I mean, I don't see. Yeah. That's why he was the Pyromancer's Ascension.
Caleb getting another land off that Confidant. As far as dealt him 3. A little below average for the 3 extra draw steps if he's taking off it. Another 9 to Daniel. Daniel falling out of 5 here.
We'll both discard blah.
Verdant Catacombs getting cracked by Caleb. Falling down to 9 here. Not really in any danger at all. Daniel can put him to 6 with that bolt, but it's not going to be nearly enough.
You get off the curb with this right, Sean. I might be wrong.
Oh, and it's a Baneslayer Angel. There's a card that I love. Who doesn't love Baneslayer Angel? Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, not sure what card Daniel was looking for there that would have gotten him out of that.
Supreme Verdict again. Would have been a fine one.
We have no more Magic?
No more Magic for this round.
Does that mean we can go watch Skyfall in IMAX?
I'm in for doing that.
Oh,
Definitely.
okay, there will be more Magic. Rashad